Hello dear students, today we are going to discuss the ninth part of the ray optics, in which linear magnification. The linear magnification produced by a lens in a direction perpendicular to the principal axis is defined as the ratio of linear size of an image to the linear size of the object. This is the definition of linear magnification. See, so according to this definition, the linear magnification which is produced by the lens in the direction perpendicular to the principal axis, so which is defined as, that is the ratio of the linear size of the image. See here, this is an object and this one is an image. The linear size of an image to the linear size of the object. So the ratio of these two which gives the linear magnification. The formula of the linear magnification is like this. The linear magnification is equal to the ratio of linear size of the image to the linear size of the object, or a linear size of the image divided by linear size of the object, that is hi divided by ho. Then, so as per the figure, see AB here, this is a lens, this one is a lens, C be the center of the lens, which we can call it as a optical center, and AB be the object. AB is the object. When two rays are required to get the image, then the object is present at a distance u from the optical center, which is we can call it as object distance. The two rays are here. One ray is parallel to the principal axis and which is passes through the principal focus, and like this. The another ray which is passes through the optical center, and these two rays are merges at a point, and this is we can say to be image distance. This is image, and the distance from image to the optical center we can call it as image distance. And so here a dash b dash is considered as an image. Then the linear size of the image is taken as a hi. The linear size of the object is taken as ho. Then from the similar triangles, here there are two similar triangles are there. One is ABC, another one is A dash B dash C. There are two similar triangles, ABC and A dash B dash C. These are the two similar triangles. In similar triangles, so according to this, the equation is A dash B dash divided by AB is equal to B dash C divided by BC. That can be, we can written as, see here, A dash B dash nothing but linear size of the image, that is equal to hi we considered here. And so see one more thing, which is taken as a negative. Why? Because according to sign convention, the direction measured above the principal axis which is taken positive, and below the principal axis which is taken negative. Then that's why the size of the image is taken negative. And the size of the object AB, see here, so in the equation this is an AB, the AB value is a linear size of the object which is considered as a HO. And so remaining is a CB dash is equal to CB dash. See here, CB dash nothing but the distance from optical center to B dash. This is the image distance, and which is taken as a V here. And another one is a CB. CB is nothing but it is an object distance which is taken as a U, but this is considered to be a minus U according to sign convention, because the all measurements from the optical center to like this, from optical center to B side like this, but the direction of incident light is opposite to this one, that's why this is considered as a minus U. Then according to our equation, see negative negative get cancelled, remaining terms are hi by ho is equal to v divided by u. That is, so the linear magnification of the lens, this is taken to be m is equal to v divided by u. This is the equation. This is an expression for linear magnification. So this formula is applicable both convex lens and the concave lens. The linear magnification m, this can be taken negative when the image is real, and when the object is it is taken positive when the image is virtual. In such a condition, this equation be the positive. So thus the linear magnification, the magnitude of the linear magnification produced by the lens is also equal to ratio of the image distance to the object distance. See here, so hi divided by ho can be taken as, so v divided by u, like this. You can take like this also. So next is the combination of the thin lenses in contact. Thin lenses, one is L1, another one is L2. One is L1, another one is L2. There are two thin lenses are here. The focal lengths are taken like this. F1 be the focal length of the first thin lens, F2 be the focal length of the second thin lens, which are placed coaxially. Both are in same axis. And if that should be in contact like this as shown in the figure. So this is the principal axis. Let O be the object which is placed at a distance u from the combination of lenses. So this from the combination, so the object is placed at a distance u, and which is present on the principal axis. And the I be the real image. See here, this is the real image. I be the real image, so which is produced at a distance v from the combination of lenses. The formation of the image may be considered in the following two steps. Here, image is formed by following these two steps, in which first step says, in the absence of the second lens. See here, if in the absence of this lens, there is only one lens is there, that is L1. If only L1 is present in such a condition, then a ray of light which is incident on the first lens and refracted, so that will be refracted and travel through the straight line to meet a principal axis. So that will meet the principal axis like this. See here, in the absence of the second lens, a ray from the object which is incident on the first lens and refracted, and that will meet the point I dash. This is the image of the object O in absence of the second lens. Then, so now it is considered to be a virtual image in combination. See, so in the absence of the second lens, this is like this, second lens L1, the ray is refracted through the first lens will be travel straight to meet the principal axis at I1. Hence, I1 will be the real image of the object O formed at a distance V1, V1 here like this. See, in the first step, there is a refraction through the first lens is here. Refraction through the first lens. Here in the absence of the second lens L2, see here, if in the absence of this lens only you can consider L1 is present. In such a condition, the refracted ray, so ray from the object O, and after refraction, that refracted ray passes through the lens and will be travel straight to meet the principal axis at I1. See, hence I1 will be real image of the object O. So this is a real image of the object O formed at a distance V1. This is the image distance due to refraction through the first lens L1. Hence the lens formula becomes, so lens formula can be taken as, actually lens formula is 1 by V minus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F. But here image distance is considered as a V1. Hence this is 1 by V1 minus 1 by Vu is equal to 1 by F, which is considered as equation number 9.19. And in the second step, see, this is a refraction through the second lens. Here in the second lens, in the absence of the first lens, you need to consider the second lens only. The ray of light which is incident, on the second lens, which is not coming out from any real object. See here. So in case of the first lens, the ray is coming from the object, directly coming from object. But if this is the second case, here only L2 is present. In such a condition, ray is not directly coming from object. which is refracted here. Hence, so we are considered here the object is not coming from the ray of light which is not directly coming from the object. Hence, here which is I1 is considered as a virtual object. See, hence refraction through the lens L2, the image I2 is act as a virtual object. See, this is image I1. This image I1 is act as a virtual object, and the final image is formed at the IC here. So this ray is directly coming like this. So if you like this, that means this is the virtual object. From this object, the image is formed at the eye. This is an image and V be the image distance. Here I1 is a virtual object, and virtual object distance is V1, and I be the real image, and real image distance is V. Hence, according to lens formula, the 1 by V minus 1 by V1 is equal to 1 by F2. See here, V1 is considered as a virtual object. Instead of U, we wrote here V1. And adding to these two above equations, see equation number 9.19 and 9.20, add these two equations. From equation number 9.19, see equation number 1.19 is like this: 1 by V1 minus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F. 1 by F. So here add these two equations. So by adding these two equations, 1 by V1 and minus 1 by V2 get cancelled. See here, 1 by V1 and minus 1 by V1 get cancelled by adding these two equations. Remaining terms are so 1 by V is remaining here, I wrote here. Then minus 1 by U is here, so I taken here, is equal to RHS side. So RHS side is here 1 by F1 and plus 1 by F2 we took here. So this is equation number 9.20. So from these equations, which is concluded that there is a equivalent lens. See, so F1 plus F2, these are the focal lengths of the two different lenses. So now there is a combination of these two lenses that gives a one equivalent lens. First, we should know that what is that equivalent lens. The equivalent lens is nothing but that is a equivalent lens of a combination of lenses is that a single lens which produces the same effect as that produced by the combination of lens. Equivalent lens is nothing but it is a single lens which produces the same effect as that of the combination of two lenses or many lenses. That is nothing but equivalent lens. The equivalent lens forms the final and real image at I at a distance V for an object O placed at a distance U from it, and if the F is focal length of the equivalent lens, and the lens formula becomes which is equals to, that can be written as, see, 1 by V minus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F. This is the equivalent lens. See here, this is the one given consideration is like this. For a equivalent lens, let us consider equivalent lens which forms the real image at I at a distance V. This is the image distance, and for an object O placed at a distance U, nothing but it is a object distance. Image distance V, object distance U, and focal length F. Focal length F. In such a condition, equation becomes like this. This is the equation of a lens for a equivalent lens, that is 1 by V minus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F. So now compare this equation number 9.22 and 9.21. See, this is a 9.21. On comparing these two equations, LHS sides are same here. That is 1 by V minus 1 by U. Here also 1 by V minus 1 by U. Hence, the RHS also equal. That's why 1 by F is equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2. Hence, the above equation becomes 1 by F equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2. Thus, the reciprocal of a focal length of a equivalent lens, see here, the reciprocal of the equivalent of the focal length. Hence, the reciprocal of the focal length, see here 1 by f, the reciprocal of focal length of equivalent lengths is equal to sum of the reciprocals, see, now sum of the reciprocals of the focal lengths of the lenses in contact. This formula holds only in case of thin lenses which are in contact like this. Then, so the power of lens, we already learned this concept, that is power of lens is equal to, so the reciprocal of focal length, P is equal to 1 by f. Like that, the power of first lens is considered as a P1, which is equal to 1 by f1. And the power of second lens is a P2, which is equal to 1 by f2. If we know that P is equal to 1 by f, that is a power of equivalent lens, then so this equation is considered to be 1 by f is nothing but P, 1 by f1 is nothing but P1, 1 by f2 is nothing but P2. That's why the equation becomes P is equal to P1 plus P2. The power of equivalent lenses is equal to sum of power of individual lenses in the contact. Then if the many number of thin lenses of focal length f1, f2, f3 and so on taken, and the power of lens is considered to be P1, P2, P3 so on, are placed in contact in such a condition, the focal length f of the equivalent lens in the given by 1 by f is equal to 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2, 1 by f3 so on. Then the power of equivalent lens is equal to, so P is equal to 1 by P1 plus 1 by P2 plus 1 by P3 so on, like this. So this is the concept of thin lenses are in contact. The next concept is about refraction through a prism. Before going to explain about the refraction through a prism, we need to know about the prism. What is meant by prism first? See here, this is the prism diagram. Prism is nothing but it is an optical medium. Prism is an optical medium bounded by three rectangular faces. There are three rectangular faces are here. One is A, B, E, D. Another one is A, C, F, D. The next one is B, C, F, E. There are three rectangular faces, two triangular faces which are parallel to each other. Two triangle faces are here. One is ABC, another one is DEF. See, these are the faces. So this is what we can call it as a prism. Prism nothing but it is an optical medium bounded by three rectangular faces and two triangular faces which are parallel to each other. This is the prism. See, of the three rectangular faces, see here, there are three rectangular faces. One is here, another one is here, the next one is base like this. So out of three rectangular faces, two are well polished. So these two are well polished. So which are called as refracting faces. The third rectangular face is a ground. See, so the third rectangular faces is ground. So which is we can call it as a base of the prism. Then the edge is common to the two refracting surfaces, which is called as a refracting edge, and the angle between these two surfaces we can call it as refracting angle of prism, and that is what normally we can call it as angle of prism. See here, this is the angle of prism which is taken as a capital A. So ABED and ACFD is the two refracting faces. So between these two faces there is an angle, the angle is there. With this angle we can call it as angle of prism, which is represented by A. So which are given in the diagram as diagram. So here them some terms are given here. ABED, see, ABED and ACFD are refracting faces, and AD is the refracting edge. Angle BCA is the angle of prism. Angle BAC, this is an angle of prism. Dear students, next is one of the very important derivation in the ray optics, so which is a refractive index in terms of the angle of the prism and angle of minimum deviation. Here, let us consider a prism, section of a prism ABC. See here, ABC is represents the principal section of a prism. It's the one section of the prism of its refractive index is taken n, and which is surrounded by the air medium, which is surrounded by air medium. Let A be the angle of the prism. See, I told that. So angle of prism, nothing but it is in the section BAC. So these are the two faces, two surfaces, refracting surfaces, and the angle between these two refracting surface, which is we can call it as angle of a prism. And see here, BC be the considered to be as a base. This is the base of the prism. Say, when a ray of light which is a PQ, see this is a ray of light PQ which is incident on the face AB. First, this ray of light which is incident on face AB, and after incidence which is refracted. Actually, so in absence of the prism, that will be move like this because of the another medium. So this ray is refracted and travel like this as a QR. And a ray of light which is incident on the prism, that is refracted back as a QR, and again this ray is emerges. So first this ray is incident on the face AC, then after the incidence it is emerges as a RS. This ray is emerges as a RS. See, so when a ray PQ is incident on the face AB, incident on the face AB, then I1 be the incidence angle or angle of incidence, and which is refracted as a QR with the angle of refraction is R1. Then a ray QR is incident on the face AC at an angle R2 and emerges as a RS at an angle I2. During a passage through the prism, a ray bent towards the base again. See, so this ray of light while traveling through the prism, so that is bend like this, again bend like this, it is move towards the base, emerges towards the base. Then later, see, there are two lines are here. One is a MQN, another one is a ORN, are the normal lines to the face AB and AC. So to the face AB and AC, these are the normal lines. These two are the normal lines. Then, so in the absence of the prism, the ray PQ would be travel straight as a, in absence of this prism ABC. If it absence, then the ray of light PQ which is travel as a PQTZ, that will travel like this. Then angle between the incident direction, that is a PQTZ, and emergent direction TRS. See, the angle between PQTZ, incident light, and emergent light. See, this is a emergent light RS. Then angle between these two is, so that is, this is incident light, see 1 minute, this is incident light and this is emergent light. The angle between these two is considered as a D, which is equal to, we can call it as angle of deviation, that is ZTR, taken as a D. See here, this is here, there is that, this one is the angle of deviation D. Then, so in the quadrilateral rectangles, see, in quadrilateral rectangle AQNR, see here, in this quadrilateral rectangle, So you can see angle AQN, angle AQN is equal to angle ARN. Both are equal to 90 degree, because this to this face, this is a normal line. So normal means angle between these two is 90 degree. To this face, this is a normal line, angle between these two is 90 degree. Hence the quadrilateral rectangle AQNR, angle AQN and angle ARN is equal to 90 degree. That is shown here. Therefore angle QAR plus QNR is equal to 180 degree. See here, angle QAR plus QNR is equal to 180 degree. So angle QAR nothing but angle of prism, that is A, plus QNR. See, that is A plus, this above equation can be taken as like this: A plus QNR is equal to 180 degree. Then so in the triangle QNR, see, so in the triangle QNR, sum of the internal angles is equal to R1 plus R2 plus angle QNR is equal to 180. So sum of the internal angles in the triangle is equal to, that is, so triangle QNR, in the triangle QNR, R1 plus R2 plus angle QNR is equal to 180 degree. From these equations, it follows that, so the above equation says, see here, so in the above equation, that is A plus angle QNR is equal to 180 degree, and in the next equation, then R1 plus R2 plus angle QNR is equal to 180 degree. As comparing these two equations now, so now by comparing these two equations, RHS 180 degree are equals here, then angle QNR is here equals here, then angle A is equal to R1 plus R2. Hence this is, it follows that A is equal to R1 plus R2. This is equation number 9.24. Now, so the angle TZ are equal to, so TQR plus TRQ. See, angle ZTR. So angle ZTR is equal to, see, angle ZTR is equal to, this is an external angle. See, this is an external angle for the given triangle. So let us take a triangle QTR is be the triangle here. To this triangle, this is an external angle. So external angle in the triangle is equal to the sum of opposite internal angles. Sum of opposite internal angles. See, so if we took these two lines, if we took these two straight lines, then I1 is equal to this angle. Hence, but we need this much only. We need this much only. Hence, this angle is equal to I1 minus R1. So in the I1, if you remove this R1, then you will get the angle, this angle. Hence, so we want sum of internal angles. So that's why this angle is equal to I1 minus R1. Like that is the same concept in given these two lines. Given these two lines, I1 is equal to this angle, total angle, but I don't want this total angle. I need this much only, and this angle is equal to I1 minus R1. In I1, if you remove this R1, you will get this angle value. Hence, the external angle D is equals to I1 minus R1 plus I2 minus R2, and the equation is, see here, so that is ZTR nothing but angle of deviation, that is D here. This is a D value D, and so that is D is equal to, so angle TQR nothing but, see, angle TQR value is equal to I1 minus R1. Hence this is I1 minus R1 plus angle TRQ is equal to angle TRQ is equal to I2 minus R2. That value is I2 minus R2 here. Hence, D is equal to I1 minus R1 plus I2 minus R2 is equal to. Then, so positive terms first you need to write I1 keep as it is and I2 plus I2 as it is. So, in the minus R1 and minus R2, first minus term take it outside. The remaining terms are R1 plus R2. So, this R1 plus R2 we wrote here. Then, so this is equal to, so D as it is in the above equation, D as it is, that is equal to I1 plus I2 keep as it is minus keep as it is, but R1 plus R2, we know the value of R1 plus R2 here. Instead of R1 plus R2, so you need to replace A. Instead of R1 plus R2, so we wrote A here. Hence, the above equation can be taken as, that is minus A, send it to LHS side, it becomes plus A. Then A plus D is equal to I1 plus I2. This is the next equation, 9.25. Then, so it has been found that as angle of incidence increases from 0 degree, then angle of deviation first decreases, it reaches the maximum value and then again increases as shown in the graph. See here, this is one graph here. So in the graph, the x-axis there is an angle of incidence, along the y-axis there is an angle of deviation. See, initially, so as angle of incidence increases, angle of deviation first decreases, later it goes increases. And during these conditions, for the two different angle of incidence, there is a same value of deviation. See, for I1 its value is D, and then for I2 value also its value is D. Like that, for each deviation, there are two angle of incidences. Any two angle of incidences, there should be a single deviation for different values, but at particular point here, this is one point at which only one angle of incidence and there is that have a somewhat deviation. This deviation we can call it as minimum. So here in this value, this is the minimum value of deviation, and the capital D, this is what we can call it as angle of minimum deviation. Hence, so for a given value, at this value, I1 value is same and I2 value is same. Hence, I1 equal to I2 equal to I. But here this is different. For I1 value and I2 value, D is the same. But at this particular point, I1, I2, I all are equal. Hence, see here, as per the diagram, it has been found that angle of incidence increases from 0 degree. The angle of deviation first decreases, then reaches to maximum value. Then again increases as shown in the figure like that. So for a prism, the least deviation for the prism least deviation is called as angle of minimum deviation, which is represented by capital D. So here this is angle of minimum deviation. Then for a given value of deviation D, there are two values of angle of incidence. I told that for a given value of D, there are two angle of incidences. Hence, namely which are I1 and I2. That is because of the value of I1 and I2 are so interchangeable, since path of the ray can be retraced. Then at a minimum deviation position here at this point, these two angles are equals. See, hence there is only one value of angle of incidence at a minimum deviation position, that is equal to I1 equal to I2, that is equal to I. Then R1 equal to R2, that is equal to R. Hence, let I1 equal to I2 equal to I, then R1 equal to R2 equal to R. So from the equation, this equation, so that is R1 plus R2 equal to, R1 is equal to R and R2 is equal to R. R plus R becomes 2R. Hence, A equal to 2R. So I wrote here A. Actually, in the equation number 9.24, like this, A equal to R1 plus R2. but r1 value is r, r2 value is r, hence a is equal to r plus r, that is equal to 2r. Then r value is, so that is equal to a by 2. So from the equation number 9.25, see here, this is equation number 9.25. Just we know that I1 value is I, I2 value is I. Hence A plus D is equal to 2I. See, so in the 9.25 equation, A plus D, but here I1 is equal to I1 is equal to I2 is equal to I. This is possible when angle of deviation value is D, capital D. Hence, instead of small d, see, instead of this small d, we took capital D in the equation 9.25. Hence, A plus D is equal to I plus I, that is a 2I. Then I value is equal to A plus D divided by 2. This is angle of. From a Snell's law, the refractive index of a material of the prism, that is n is equal to sin I by sin r. See, so in the above equation, so sin keep as it is. Instead of I, you should write A plus D by 2. Then instead of I, value is A plus D by 2. And again sin keep as it is. Instead of R, have the value is equal to R is equal to A by 2. Hence, R value is A by 2. On substituting these values, we'll get the result, that is N, and that is nothing but refractive index, which is in terms of A, nothing but angle of prism, and D, nothing but angle of minimum deviation. This is the derivation, that is an expression for refractive index in terms of angle of prism and angle of minimum deviation. This is the formula of the refractive index in terms of angle of prism and angle of minimum deviation. For a thin prism, the small angle of prism is 1 for which refracting angle A is a very small. In such a cases, the equation is like this. The n refractive index is nearly equal to, for a small angle we know that sin I is equal to I, sin R is equal to R. Like that, here sin A plus D by 2 value is A plus D by 2, and sin A by 2 value is only A by 2. Then equation becomes A by 2, see here 2 get cancelled, remaining is A plus D by A, or that is equal to, on cross multiplication it becomes NA is equal to A plus D, or D is equal to NA minus A, or N keep it outside, then remaining A keep it outside, then A into N minus 1. So this is the value of angle of minimum deviation. So this is an expression for, see, this N is equal to sin of A plus D by 2 divided by sin of A by 2. This is an expression for refractive index in terms of angle of prism and angle of minimum deviation. Thank you.